Hi everyone, thank you for joining this online webinar. My name is Novelle and I'm a pre-sales consultant in Technosoft. In this session, I'll be sharing with you an overview about Microsoft Power Virtual Agent on how you can leverage on machine learning and artificial intelligence to improve communication efficiency and productivity in your organization. In our agenda today, I will briefly go through first what is Power Virtual Agent, followed by what can an AI-driven virtual agent do to help your organization. I will also go through some highlights of the virtual agent, and then we will do a live demonstration. If you have any question, in Microsoft Teams, you can see there's a chat icon, so you can type your questions there, and we will answer those questions at the end of the session. So, what is Power Virtual Agent? Virtual agents serve as an online customer service representative that uses scripted rules and artificial intelligence to provide automated service or guidance to your customer. Many people will refer to this as a chatbot. So, what is the difference between the chatbot that are created many years ago as compared to the chatbot now? In the past, chatbots are built by coding to tell the bot to look for specific keywords, and if the keyword is found, it will respond based on that keyword that is already defined in the code. Now, chatbot such as the one in our topic today is far more advanced, where system administrator can create it without any coding knowledge. The chatbot now can also leverage artificial intelligence and machine learning to allow a chatbot to hold a conversation with the customer instead of just normal question and answer style. So, what can AI-driven virtual agent do to help your organization? Firstly, being able to assist customer with the AI bots is a major business trend today, especially when there's a global pandemic such as COVID-19, where many countries is going through lockdowns. Due to this, many businesses around the world will have to change their way of operating, and if everybody is required to stay at home, you have to be able to operate online. With AI-driven chatbot, organizations like yourself can expand self-service support experiences for your customer and also allowing your operation to operate 24/7 online. Virtual agent can assist your customers with any inquiry such as promotions, recommendation of vehicles, or information checking such as order status checking, updating of profiles, and it can even create and confirm booking online. These are all routine tasks and are usually very high volume and time consuming. We can easily automate all this by an AI-driven chatbot. Let's look at some highlights of Microsoft Power Virtual Agent. Firstly, Power Virtual Agent uses a code-free graphical interface, and system administrator can quickly and easily create virtual agent with just a few clicks. After the virtual agent is created, we can define the utterances, intents, and entities easily. What does it mean by this? A computer bot usually interprets conversation digitally by identifying the intents and entities in our utterances. Whatever the customer say is an utterance. Intent is the customer's intention or what the customer wants. Entities are important information that the bot needs to be able to complete based on the customer intention. For example, the customer says, I want to make a service booking tomorrow at 2 p.m. This whole sentence is an example of utterance by a customer. And within this utterance, we can identify the intention, which is service booking, and we can also identify key entities that the bot will need to complete the task of creating a service booking. And this entity is the date and the time that the customer wants. With our virtual agent, you can create personalized customer experience with automation. A virtual agent that chat with users are good, but a virtual agent that can execute tasks on behalf of an employee is even better. To further enhance your virtual agent capability, we can easily connect with backend system through hundreds of pre-built connectors that is already available within Microsoft Power Virtual Agent. Here is just a few hand-picked popular connectors that are used frequently by many organizations. An intelligent virtual agent will also avoid repetitive conversation. Microsoft Power Virtual Agent, not only it can converse with customer, but it also comes with capabilities of what we call as a slot filling feature. So, for example, in a service booking, we need information such as the workshop, the date and time of the appointment, the vehicle plate number, and what services, total of 5 questions. However, if the customer have already specified in the beginning, for example, the customer says, I want to make a service booking tomorrow at 2 p.m. at workshop B. From here, the virtual agent is smart enough to have already identified 3 answers. To further enhance the virtual agent capabilities, we can leverage on artificial intelligence and machine learning for language understanding. One of the machine learning that we can use to make a smart virtual agent is to connect it with Microsoft Luis. Microsoft Luis is a machine learning service that is designed with complex algorithms that allow computer and human to speak with each other in a natural language. And the goal of Microsoft Luis is to interpret the user goal, which we call as intention, and then extract the important information, which we call as entities. So in short, Microsoft Luis will help your virtual agent to understand what a person wants in their own words. Some illustration here for better understanding. For example, in the first diagram, if we go to a bank and we want to ask the customer service how to use the ATM machine. So how do we communicate with the on-site customer service? Some will ask how to use the ATM machine. Some will ask, I'm not sure if I'm using the ATM machine correctly. Can you help me? Some will even ask, how can I withdraw money without approaching the counter? So even though it is a different way of asking, but they are all referring to the same intention, which is using ATM machine as the topic. In the second example, for automotive dealership, if the customer says, I want to service my car, or if the customer say, I just had an accident, I want to repair my car, or they say, I want to service my car tomorrow at 2 p.m. at dealer A, is it possible? So all these 3, even though it is a different way of asking, they are all referring to the same intention, which is service booking. And in addition, the last sentence also bring in other important information, such as the appointment date and time, and also the workshop, which we will define it as entity. This is only possible if the software has the ability to understand natural language, and Microsoft Luis is a service that does this. After you have configured your virtual agent, you could use this bot on multiple platforms or channels that are reachable by your customer. This includes live websites, social messaging platforms such as WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, and many more. Once embedded, your customer will have the same experience, doesn't matter which channel they use to communicate with you. Not only you can have a smart virtual agent, but you can also have a multilingual virtual agent that understand and can converse in multiple language. Currently, there are 19 languages that is currently supported and ready to be used. There may be situations where the virtual agent is unable to respond to some conversation and therefore need to hand off the conversation to a human agent. Our virtual agent works hand in hand with customer service feature to provide a holistic view of your customer service operation. At the end of the day, you want to be able to analyze your virtual agent just like we do a performance review for employees in the organization. With the built-in analytics in Microsoft Cloud Virtual Agent, you could see how the virtual agent is performing, and based on the statistic trend with the highest volume of topic, you can make a decision to automate it. Now, I will show you the live demonstration. In the live demonstration, I will show you some setup screen and the final output. For system administrator setup, this is the setup screen where we create the intentions or topics and the entities, which is the important information that the virtual agent will need to collect in order to execute certain tasks. And within each topic, we can define the utterance or trigger phrases so that the virtual agent will know that this is the conversation path that needs to be followed based on the customer intention. Here, we can also go to the graphical designer where we can configure the dialogue process for each intention or each topic. To add a dialogue process, we can just click on the plus icon here and we can select whether we want to ask a question or we want to call an action or we want to just display a message. And as you can see, there is actually no coding required. It's all just click, select, and also we can drag the node if we want to be able to combine with another process. So based on here, you can see for service booking, it will require the virtual agent to ask the customer for the vehicle plate number first. After we ask for the vehicle plate number, there is a connector action here that connects the data to the backend system to check if the vehicle exists in the master data or not. If exists, it will tell the customer here that we need to verify the profile first before we can proceed further. And then at this stage, we can do some authentication phase or something. Then we can retrieve the information from the backend system and display the vehicle information. Then on the left bottom here, we also have a test board where you can do a test of whatever that is being configured before we publish to the channels. Another setup that probably you are interested in is Microsoft LUIS, which is the language understanding service using machine learning. So this is the setup screen of Microsoft LUIS, where you can see we can also define the intents and entities just like the Power Virtual Agent. However, this is a little more advanced because it contains machine learning attribute that learns the intention instead of just based on trigger phrases. For example, I have created 3 different intentions where based on the customer utterance, it could probably be some questions related to service booking or test drive booking or self-care question. So let's look at service booking intention. I have trained my bot to understand that if the customer is asking similar questions such as I want to make a service booking, I want to send my car for engine service at this date and this time, or I need some help on aircon servicing. So because I already trained it, doesn't matter how I restructure the sentence. For example, I put a new sentence. Is there available time if I want to service my car this Friday? It automatically detects that this is the intention, which is service booking, and it will identify the entity automatically. And it will also tells you the prediction score is about 99.2% accurate. Not only that, because this is using machine learning, it will also understand the word service and other related meanings of service, such as if I go to this machine learning feature and I click on the refresh suggestion, it will be able to understand that if we talk about things like engine diagnostic or car tires or some car parts or some similar words, it will immediately know this must be related to service, and therefore it will predict this customer is asking about service booking. So now I will show you the live demo of the output result based on all these configuration. This is the website that I have embedded my virtual agent. So we can start to chat with the virtual agent now. The virtual agent will start with self-introduction, and the name of my agent is Yana. The customer can be given option to select the intention directly, or they can also describe the issue in their own words. So in the scenario now, I will select the option to be able to create a service booking. And the first thing that the virtual agent will ask is, what is my vehicle plate number? After I enter my vehicle plate number, what is going to happen behind the scene is that if you remember the dialog path that we have briefly gone through during the setup demo, there's a connector that connects to the back-end system to check if the vehicle exists in my master data or not. And upon checking, the vehicle exists in my master data, and before I allow my virtual agent to display information such as the customer profile and vehicle profile information, I can do a verification check first by either sending the verification code to the customer mobile phone or email address. The customer can then enter the verification code, and if it matches, then we can display the information retrieved from the backend system. In here, this plate number, actually the model is Tesla, year 2020, and the last service date is June. Who is the customer, what email address, and the phone number. Then we can also ask the customer to select the type of services that they need. These services we can actually retrieve from the service module depending on what services you offer to your customer. In this scenario, I'm going to select a service package of 1000 kilometer service. We can also ask the customer if there's any additional checking that or additional comment that they will need the technician to take note of. I can put in like, for example, check my brake. After we input the information, the next thing we need to know is which workshop does the customer wants to go to. If the customer have a preferred dealer, they can enter the name of the preferred dealer. Otherwise, we can also integrate this with a map where the customer can enter a postcode, and then we can retrieve the nearest dealer based on the postcode entered. And here, this is the list of the dealer that is nearer to my postcode. I'm going to go to workshop dealer B. And based on this workshop information, I can retrieve the available date for service, which I'm going to pick as tomorrow. And we can select the available time. Currently, there's only 3 slots that is available. I'm going to pick 11:30. And what is going to happen now is that the virtual agent is going to execute the task of creating a reservation transaction directly into the backend system. And after creating, it will return me with a booking summary with the plate number, who is the customer, what is the contact details, what is the service type that have been picked, and the date and time of the appointment, and also the reservation number. So In addition to that, we can also immediately send an email with this booking summary information to the customer email with the reservation number and a QR code. So another scenario that I can show you is a scenario that uses machine learning to analyze the customer intention. So I'm going to restart the conversation with my virtual agent. Instead of directly clicking on the service booking, this time I'm going to describe my problem and see if Microsoft Louis understands it. So I'm going to say, my car engine is making some strange sound. Can I come to your workshop on the 24th, 2 p.m. at dealer A? Is it possible? So let's see if Microsoft Louis can return with a correct intention. And yes, it understands that with this statement, this is very likely is asking for a service booking. And from here, it will again ask me with the plate number information. And again, this is going to check with the backend system to see if my vehicle exists. If it exists, then it will ask me for verification information again. And once I enter the verification information, it will retrieve the same vehicle information and it will ask me what services I need. And in this case, I'm going to, for example, I'm just going to pick a service package of 1000 kilometer service. And again, it will ask me if there's any additional checking, same as the previous one. This time, I'm going to check my engine. And what happens is that it immediately booked me in and gave me a booking summary without asking me which dealer, without asking me the date and time of the appointment, because I have already stated in the beginning that I want to come on the 24th, 2 p.m. at dealer A. So here, it will just ask me for my plate number and also the services that I need, and it can immediately book me for appointment. Based on the demo, you can see to create a smart, intelligent virtual agent, it is quite easy, where you just need to define what you want to ask to your customer or display to your customer using a click and select method and also dragging the notes if you want to be able to combine the processes. To enhance the virtual agent, we can train Microsoft Louis easily to understand the customer intention, where we just need to define a few samples and Microsoft Louis will learn the rest by itself. With this artificial intelligence and machine learning driven virtual agent, it will help to ease your employee workload, allowing them to keep focus on tasks that is vital to keep the organization running. Let's see at which stage of a customer journey process we can make use of Power Virtual Agent, giving your dealership an extra helping hand to assist your customer and also to automate high volume tasks on behalf of your employee. This is a customer journey end-to-end process for sales. We can use Power Virtual Agent for sales inquiry, where if there's any ongoing promotions or there's new model launching, you could train it to respond to your customers. It can also be used for lead collection, where we could collect some information from the customer who contacted you via virtual agent and then automatically create it as a lead in the backend system. If you want the virtual agent to help to provide quotation, it can also be done, and especially for passenger cars, the vehicle usually already have a retail price. The virtual agent can provide vehicle recommendation and then extract the latest price from the backend system, compile it, and send to the customer as a sales quotation. For customers who already have active booking, they can check their order status with the virtual agent because the virtual agent can retrieve the status from the backend system based on the order number. And of course, for after-sales support, the customer can also contact the virtual agent if there's any problem, and they can also do a customer feedback here. For service customer journey, it is similar. The virtual agent can handle service inquiries like service promotion and something like that. And even things like if the customer asks why my engine light is on or blinking. Just like the human agent, we could respond to the customer to say maybe it is due to a faulty gas cap and then guide the customer how to check and confirm it. If it is really faulty, the virtual agent can immediately make a service booking directly to have it fixed at the nearest workshop. Now we will move to the Q&A session and see if you have any other questions. Thank you very much for joining me in this session.